We're now ready to create the first phase for the release. And we have 4 phases for this release: CI, UAT, Verify, and Production. And to get started, we'll click Create a Phase. The first phase we're going to create is the CI phase, so in the phase name field, we'll enter CI for the name. In the Owners field, users or groups can be added into this field to allow these users to edit and execute the phase, regardless of their permissions. A typical use case for the Owners field is where a specific team, such as a team of developers, will end up performing the majority of tasks in the phase. So key members of the development team can be made owners of the phase so they have the ability to execute and modify the phase as needed. In this example, we don't need any phase owners, so we can skip the Owners field. And then under the Choose How You Want the Phase to Run section, there are 3 choices for a phase: manual, automatic, and scheduled. The manual phase is triggered when a user manually clicks the Run button on the phase. The automatic phase is triggered when the previous phase is completed, or if this is the first phase in the release, the phase can be triggered to run automatically when Jenkins notifies CDD of a new build. If we choose to schedule a phase, that phase automatically runs at a specified date and time. The CI phase that we're creating will be the first phase in the release, so we'll select automatic because we want this phase to automatically run when a build is triggered in Jenkins and Jenkins notifies CDD. Next, the Scheduled and Planned Dates field is used to define when a scheduled phase should execute, and we can also define whether the phase executes on a recurring basis. For the CI phase, we'll leave this field blank. Selecting the Run Tasks with Updated Applications Only checkbox means that the phase will only run tasks in the phase that are related to an application that's been updated. So in our example, if a new build is triggered for Web Backend, but there's no new build triggered for Web Frontend, if this box is selected, the phase will only run the tasks associated with the Web Backend application because that's the application that was changed. And the task for the Web Frontend application will not run because that application wasn't changed. One quick note, if we have tasks that are not associated with any application, those tasks will always run even if this checkbox is selected. If this checkbox is not selected, all of the tasks in the phase run for all applications. For this phase, we're going to leave this checkbox unselected at this time. The next field is the Description field, where we can enter an optional description. This phase is pretty self-explanatory, so we're not going to enter a description right now. In the Environments dropdown, we'll select the CI environment, so all the tasks in this phase are going to be associated with the CI environment. One very important point about the Environments field is that this field must be populated with an environment in order to run tasks that are tied to an environment. But if you notice, this field isn't required. And there are a couple of reasons for this. One is that you might be making a phase and realize that you still need to make the environment for it. And this allows you to create the phase, go out and create the environment later, and then come back to the phase and add the environment to it. The second thing is that it's also possible to create a phase that's capturing a workflow that isn't actually tied to an environment. And with that, we're done configuring the first phase, and we can click Create. And now we see the first phase in our release. Looking at the screen, we can see the phase name of CI. It's never been run. It will run automatically, and it has no owners associated with it. We can also see a play button that will execute the phase manually, and there's a create task button. From here, we can continue to create the rest of the phases, or we can build out this phase first with all of its tasks. One advantage to building out the tasks first is that the phase can then be duplicated with all of its tasks, and that typically reduces the amount of manual work that it takes to build out the remaining phases.